Hello, my name is Palsvig. I am from Denmark. I am the chairman of a Danish political party called JFK21. It stands for Earth, Freedom and Knowledge. But that's not the topic of this video. This video is to explain a little bit about the activities we are doing as activists to influence decision makers in Denmark regarding the rollout of 5G and explaining to them how dangerous it is and protesting against the rollout. We literally want to stop it. So we have demonstrations every week where we invite ourselves to discussions with decision makers. We've been in the Ministry of Health, the health authorities, the Ministry for Energy, and the Cancer Research NGO, the largest of those, and then Danish Nature Preservation. We visited some of the largest energy corporations in Denmark, and also we are visiting Friday. We are demonstrating and we're walking out to Ericsson, who together with Huawei are the two largest in the rollout of 5G. But today we had a meeting with DR, Danish Radio, which is the equivalent of the English BBC. Excuse me. And we basically invited ourselves, and the head of DR Knowledge, he was on video link. He didn't fancy being in the same room with us. We were 7 people, so he preferred to do it on video link. But that's okay. We went to the offices. And basically, we came 7 people, 2 of them engineers. One of them had worked actively with putting up various telecom equipment. So is literally an expert in that field. And we explained to him how dangerous 5G is, how dangerous mobile radiation is, how dangerous the smart meters are. And basically what we want to make sure is that he is aware of all this danger and all the research that our television is not informing the Danish population about. We came, for example, with this document which shows how the national standards of Denmark, which is the maximum allowed standard is 9 million microwatt per square meter, and for example in Belgium it's 24,000, and in Salzburg, Austria, it's only 1. So we have our politicians are allowing 9 million times more radiation than they are in Salzburg, in Austria. Then we gave him a copy in English of the court case in Italy, in Turin, where they have actually 6 court cases that proves that mobile radiation causes cancer, and also that ICNIRP, ICNIRP, whatever they say cannot be used in the court in courts of law, because basically they are lobbyists. They're funded by lobbyists from the telecom industry, so they cannot be used in the court. Then we came with this this court document from France, where there was a court case where 20 people have by court has forced the authorities to remove their smart meters because it had a negative impact on their health. So that means that now while we in Denmark are going for a 100% rollout of wireless smart meters, then now there's a court case in France that has decided that it is dangerous to your health. Then we gave him a 75-page document from a Danish lawyer We are a group of Danes who are suing the Danish government to stop the 5G rollout. There's a lot of evidence in that one, obviously. We also basically told him a little bit about some of the facts that they are not talking about in Danish television, such as 5G is a weapon, and as opposed to 2, 3, and 4G, which is kind of sending out the waves, microwaves in a kind of a soup, and the further away you are from the mast that send out the signals, the exposure drops dramatically, exponentially. Whereas with the 5G, it's like a directed energy weapon. It's like a laser, so it just goes straight all the time with the same effect, even though you are far away from it. And also that the Danish television is not informing the Danish population that the fertility of Danish men has dropped so much in only 20 years that now 78% of Danish men are either low fertility or no fertility. And this is even without 5G having been rolled out yet. We basically gave him a whole sheet of different facts that the Danish television does not inform the Danish population about. I don't know whether I go through that, but I mean, one of them is the money creation, how that banks are creating the money and not the central bank. I'm a former investment banker from Credit Suisse, Morgan Stanley and Barclays in London. And they are also not informing the Danish population that only Danish corporations are paying tax, whereas the multinational corporations, they hardly ever pay any tax. Also not informing the Danish population about poison in food, poison in water, poison in the air, HAARP, HAARP, that you can control the weather. And we have actually literally had rain in Denmark here the last 4 months, every day, literally every day. If we had one day where there's a bit of sun, then we would have a shower in the evening. And that is very highly suspicious. The Danish television is not informing people that everything produced in plastic could be produced in hemp, the plant, which is God's gift to creation, that can literally produce almost anything. You can clothes, houses, cars, even petrol for your cars can be made by hemp, and it also even cleans the earth on the ground and the soil where you grow the hemp plants. Even in Chernobyl, it also removes radiation. So it's really a good plant. And we should, instead of just producing plastic, we could just produce it in hemp. Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff that they are not informing the population about. Big Pharma is making money on disease and not on the cure. For example, they're not informing the population about all wars have been started on a lie. And some people are making money on that. They're not informing about that. That every single war and every single revolution, the last several hundred years, have been started by banksters, international gangsters, basically, literally globalists and banksters. And it's still the same even till this day. I mean, for example, take the murder of Gaddafi and the destruction of Libya. That was all done by ruthless banksters and their collaborators sitting in offices as prime ministers in various countries. And then also we explained to him how we are aware how their lies are being done in practice every day. It's the old scam of look over here, don't look over here. So when, for example, the Danish banks are being caught cheating and whitewashing money for money laundering 1,500 billion kroner, then all of a sudden up pops a lady who have cheated the government for 100 million kroner. And then everybody talks about her, and she has riding horses, and she travels to South Africa and all that stuff. So people are talking about this woman instead of talking about excuse me, what's going on with our biggest banks? Another thing is, what else could I explain here? Yeah, we talk about Trump is a Putin lover, for example, and we're not talking about Hillary Clinton actually received $145 million from Russia to sign that an American corporation sold 20% of United States uranium to Russia. So that's a little bit more collusion with Russia than Trump has ever done, for sure. We also have the Danish newspapers talking about, and television, about a disagreement with 1 billion kroner, 100 million pounds, about higher taxes or more welfare or lower taxes or whatever. And we don't talk about that the Danish banks increased the monetary base in Denmark with 80 billion, so 80 times more, 80 billions every year. So that's around 9 billion pounds. And so just to get the picture, you talk about 1 billion over here, but don't talk about 80 billion over here. So it's just a huge scam, the way they do the media. Then we also showed to him, because he is the head of Denmark's radio DR, our BBC, knowledge department. So we showed him this one here, which I will put in the link below. Exposure to 5G waves leads to flu-like symptoms. Okay, that's something to look into maybe. And also we gave him some patent numbers in the US patent, from the US Patent Office, where you can see that AIDS has a patent, US patent, H1N1, Ebola, swine flu, Zika, SARS, and even the coronavirus has a patent. There's a patent on it. You can even find vaccines for them. Something to think about. And then also we also reminded him of the public service duties that you actually are obliged to follow in a publicly funded national television channel. And that means you have to tell the truth. Yes, if you are CNN and you're a private corporation, they have won court cases where they're not allowed to tell the truth. They are allowed to lie. It's a corporate media. They can lie. They are the real fake news. They even won a court case to prove it. But the publicly funded national television like DR, Danmarks Radio, has to tell the truth. They are not allowed to lie. And so they have to inform the Danish population that mobile radiation causes cancer. If they don't do it, they break the law. So we told him that. And then we are also busy writing notice of liability letters to politicians and journalists and CEOs for big telecom and energy corporations, even local authorities, local politicians. And it's basically just a 2-page letter where we basically, with a legal document, we write to them and we basically say to him, for example, this gentleman here we met today, Carsten Nymann. Dear Carsten Nymann, you are a journalist and you are obliged to follow the law and make sure that the stories you tell are correct and accurate. And you have a duty to control the information and your sources as far as possible. And this legal document is written to you, so you are aware of the responsibility that will be used in the court if necessary. And we are writing to you so that you can protect yourself in the future potential court cases against you for your acts or omissions about the implementation of the 5G technology. So basically, you know, I'm just translating directly here from Danish to English, so it's obviously not perfect, and I do apologize. I am Danish, even though I lived in England, but just you get the grip that what we are doing here is we have legal documents. We are writing to these people in power that they are actually legally responsible. We went to see some of the energy corporations, and as you may be aware, these telecom corporations and energy corporations, they cannot be reinsured. They cannot be insured for health hazards and damages to human beings' health and even death. They cannot be insured for that. So they are, what they say, they are self-insured, which means basically they are bankrupt. So if it's true that mobile radiation causes cancer, and we just have a court case, or 6 court cases in Italy proving that that is the fact, and if it is true that smart meters impact your health negatively and you become sick from this, and we just have a court case in France proving that to be the case. So if that is the case in Denmark as well, and presuming that Danish human beings are similar to the French and the Italians, and we also, these will impact the Danish bodies the same way, that means that we will get sick and die as well, then they are now legally responsible for every single death and every single person who becomes sick. And that means that they cannot go to say to the Danish authorities, no, we just follow the law, we put up these telecom masts and this equipment, and we just implemented the smart meters and it's wireless and so on. Well, the Danish law that never told them to put up technology that was damaging to the health, so they are actually responsible. That means that all these corporations, they will go bankrupt. If they put this up, they will go bankrupt because a lot of people will be suing them. So we're also informing them about this fact. And then obviously there's this lovely 2020 vision on 5G. You may have seen it. I didn't write it. Someone else did. It's anonymous. I don't know who did it. But basically, number 1, we should stop 5G on Earth and in space. Stop it cold for the unconstitutional, illegal, immoral, weaponized surveillance and control program it is. And remove all existing small towers and transmitters from our communities and everywhere else they have been built. 2. We begin major management of current cell phone wireless infrastructure, moving all towers and antennae safely out of our communities as far away as will allow adequate cell phone coverage. 3. We claim and use the miles of fiber optic cable that we taxpayers laid down in our communities and lay down more to bring wired cable to and through all homes and businesses to create a wired network access to the internet for all citizens. 4. We remove all wireless smart meters and replace with analogs or stupid wireless meters that transmit a very short distance to the road or remote readings, very limited information about total electric power usage only, and with free opt-out option. 5. We remove all wireless routers from schools, daycare facilities, hospitals and public spaces and require Ethernet wired internet access for students, staff and others in those spaces. 6. We educate all citizens about the dangers of wireless radiation and how to reduce exposure in their homes and in their lives. 7. We fund independent research into safe, alternative wireless technologies. And I repeat, I didn't come up with this. I just thought it was brilliant. And I hope the author will allow me to use it. I certainly will continue using it. And I encourage that you will use this and find inspiration in this, maybe even make it even better. And press on and go and see the authorities in your community and inform them, give them and hand them over a notice of liability. There is it's already proven beyond any reasonable doubt that wireless radiation is damaging to human health, to insects, to animals, and to the nature. So it has to be stopped, and use all the arguments you can find. We need to stop it, and we need to stop it cold, and we need to stop it now. Thanks a lot for listening. I wish you and your family a safe and cabled future, or with safe wireless. Take care.
The data we're going to look at are all published science, testing results, or public standards. At the bottom end of the radiation scale of what's called power density or signal strength is the minimum level at which cell phones will work, which was found to be 0.2 billionths of a microwatt per centimeter squared. Pine needles were found to age prematurely at 0.000027. At short-term exposures of 0.05, children aged 8 to 17 experienced headache, irritation, concentration difficulties, and behavioral problems. 0.1 is the biobiology or building biology guideline for extreme concern. 1.0 produced sperm DNA fragmentation and a decrease in sperm viability in vitro. Also at 1.0, the science shows the following bodily effects can occur: headaches, dizziness, fatigue, insomnia, chest pain, difficulty breathing, and indigestion. 2.5 saw altered calcium metabolism in heart muscle cells. 4.0, changes in the hippocampus affecting brain memory and learning. And at 6.0, DNA damage in cells. So, where are smart meters on this list? Electrical Power Institute in December 2010 measured a single Itron smart meter with pulses up to 7.93 microwatts per centimeter squared. Our own testing indicated approximately 8.0 with 1 meter. These tests are at a close distance, approximately 1 foot away from the meter, but an infant's crib could be just as close on the other side of the wall where the meter or bank of meters are installed. Even though there are all these known health effects at levels far lower, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Luxembourg see fit to set the standard at 9.5. And China, Poland, and Russia, 10.0. This is the same level at which behavior has been altered, producing reflexes of avoidance following 30-minute exposures. A room of 12 smart meters, very common and even a conservative number in an apartment building, tested at 19.8 microwatts per centimeter squared. This is hundreds of times higher than levels which clearly indicate harmful effects. So how can utilities and governments get away with forcing these devices on everyone? This is how. In Canada and the US and several other civilized countries, the safety limit is set at 600 to 1,000 microwatts per centimeter squared. This so-called safety limit is literally tens of thousands of times higher than levels which are known to damage health according to peer-reviewed published science.